What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode. In this episode, we're going to be talking about LSU playing for an opportunity to win 10 games for the second time under Brian Kelly. So, after last week's loss to Alabama, 42-28, LSU fell to 6-3 on the season, and they still have an opportunity to win 10 games, right? It starts with Florida, and then they have Texas A&M, and then they have Georgia Southern to finish the season, and then they move into the bowl season, and they're going to be awaiting their opponent, and then they have an opportunity to win that game also and get 10 wins for the second time under Brian Kelly. Now, um, LSU is 6-3. They got Florida coming into Death Valley at 7:30 kickoff, which is great for LSU because we all know LSU plays great at night. But LSU is a wounded team, and I say wounded is because well, not Brian Kelly, but Jaden Daniels is in concussion protocol. They haven't announced whether or not he's going to play. Me personally, I don't think he's going to play. I would want him to play, but if he's not ready to go, I think that we should turn it over to Garrett Nussmeier and allow Garrett Nussmeier to run out there with the first team offense. And it'll give you a snapshot into what Garrett Nussmeier is going to be able to bring to this team next year as the full time starter. Now, for the small sample sizes that I've seen from Garrett Nussmeier so far, I'm not convinced, but things can change when you have all of the first team snaps in the offseason. So we'll have to see. But I would like to see Garrett Nussmeier, if Jaden Daniels is not 100% healthy, go out there and be the starter. And even if some way, somehow, Jaden Daniels does pass the concussion protocol, I think that we should still just see what Garrett Nussmeier has, right? I think this LSU team is good enough with Garrett Nussmeier with the weapons on the outside, right? To be able to beat this Florida team. Now, I'm not saying this Florida team are a bunch of pushovers, but um, for the last 2 years under Billy Naples, this hasn't been the Florida team of the past, right? And so, although this LSU team is wounded, um, I think that they could, they have enough in the tank to beat this Florida team without Jaden Daniels. Now, the LSU game versus Alabama, no matter who wins, whether it's LSU or Alabama, is a physical game. And LSU historically comes out after that game and play pretty sluggish, right? Because it's a boxing match, right? It's just body blows. Both teams are dealing body blows to each other, right? And that was a physical game, right? We saw that. Now the hit on Jaden Daniels was a dirty hit. I wouldn't. I don't know if it's dirty. I don't know that. I don't know Dallas Turner's heart, but I think it was targeting. Um, Deion Sanders' son was kicked out of the game for a legal hit versus UCLA, and Dallas Turner was able to stay in the game versus Alabama with a illegal hit, and it cost LSU that game because after Jaden Daniels went out with a concussion, the offense just seemed to lose all of the wind that it had in itself. So I'm pretty sure LSU. So going into that Alabama game, if LSU would have won that game, it would have pretty much controlled its destiny and had an opportunity to get back to the SEC championship to face Georgia. I mean, let's be honest, Georgia's going to go back to the SEC championship, and Georgia's going to go back to the playoffs. So losing to Alabama, I'm pretty sure the spirits around this LSU football team, it's kind of low. Um, Hopefully, it's the 48-hour rule, right? They got it out of their system. They're locked in. They're practicing for Florida, and you know they're setting their sights on winning 10 games and hitting a milestone of getting 10 wins under Brian Kelly in his second season. Now, Brian Kelly talked about LSU having an opportunity to be moving from good to elite. And he said the way how they can do that is one, win 10 games, and two, just continue to maintain the LSU standard of being elite. And that's, you know, dominating their opponents and, fighting for an opportunity to get to the postseason. Now, that opportunity is not going to come this season, but for a lot of the underclassmen on this LSU team, it's an opportunity for them to go into the offseason and know what it feels like to come very close, right? And using that as as bulletin board material to make a run next season um, and get to the playoffs, right? Um, LSU has some things it has to address, right? Um, there's a very Florida offense is not a pushover offense, right? They have a very capable quarterback in Graham Mertz, the Wisconsin transfer, and again, if LSU don't figure it out on defense in this game, it could be a very long game for LSU again. It might end up being a shootout. Do I think LSU is going to win the game? Yes. But LSU is going to have to come in and be locked in and be focused. I haven't looked at Florida's complete roster, so I don't know what type of weapons they have on the outside. But we know that LSU's weakness is pretty much their defensive backfield. So I haven't really looked at, all of Florida's weapons yet. I'm going to be looking at that very soon, but I haven't looked at it. But I do know that Graham Mertz is not a pushover quarterback. He can sling that thing, and if LSU isn't, you know, being disciplined enough, then they can find themselves, um, you know, losing to Florida or giving up a lot of big plays to Florida. So LSU has to be locked in. I think they will. Like I said, it's a night game in Dead Valley at 7:30. The fans are going to be there. The fans are going to be loud. The fans are going to be drunk. The fans want revenge from losing last week, and the fans want to extend the winning streak over Florida. I think LSU's won the last 3 years, right? It was the shoe game, and then it was the game last year with Anthony Richardson and all of that good stuff, right? So I think LSU's won the last 3 games, and they're looking to make it 4 um, over the last couple of years, right? So um, LSU still has a lot to play for. 10 wins. Um, it's not an easy thing to do in the SEC, right? They still have 2 SEC opponents in Florida and Texas A&M, which should be a motivational game for LSU, right? Texas A&M beat LSU last year, and LSU should be looking for revenge, but they should not be looking past Florida. They should take care of Florida convincingly, and then move on to Texas A&M. Finish up the season with Georgia Southern, who is not an SEC opponent, and then get ready to turn to um, the bowl season. So um, a lot to still play for. Like I said, um, winning 10 wins again, getting 10 wins again in Brian Kelly's second year um, could, give this team the catalyst to go into the offseason um, to get ready for the next season in 2024 and hopefully making a run to the playoffs. Jaden Daniels will no longer be with the team. Malik Neighbors is probably going to move on to the NFL. So, as well as Brian Thomas Jr., right? And so, you know, that sucks. But um, this team has a lot of young talent on it and a lot of young talent who played early, especially on that offensive line. So, you know, again, getting 10 wins this year, um, getting getting that taste of being so close, right? Um, you know, that should motivate them and give them enough fuel to you know come next season, fight for an opportunity to get to the playoffs and maybe even national championship. But yeah, Florida's coming to town, 7:30 kickoff, opportunity to move to 7-3 and possibly um, end the season. a couple of weeks from now with 10 wins. So, as always, um, please consider giving the video a like, a comment, and subscribe if you haven't already subscribed to the channel. Um, Liking this video or liking any video helps get this video into the YouTube metaverse, right? Helps get this helps get this video to a lot of other sports fans. So I would greatly appreciate leaving a like, a comment, a subscribing, and helping this channel grow. Until next time, um, until next time, but before we say that, let me know how you feel about this LSU team versus Florida and moving forward for the rest of the season in the comments below. And until next time, I'm out.